I thank the ranking
gentlelady
member,
from Ohio is recognized for 4 minutes.
Mr. Ray Hall, for his great leadership and consider it a privilege to speak today. Let me inform this House why it should vote down this death bill. Yes, death bill. This is a jar of algae, toxic to humans and animals. It was just drawn from Lake Erie, one of our great freshwater lakes, the drinking source for some 11 million people. On August 2nd, this green muck, filled with toxic microcystin, surrounded the Toledo drinking water intake, leaving over 500,000 people with no safe drinking water for 3 days. It almost seemed surreal. One of America's biggest cities and regions with no fresh drinking water. Now, the region that our watershed drains is 85% agricultural. How fortunate we are. In fact, it's the largest watershed in the entire Great Lakes. But allowing farm field runoff of manures and fertilizers applied at 4 times the rate of 20 years ago, with excessive phosphorus and nitrogen that feed the growth of this green muck, is simply no longer acceptable. The number of people who live in this tri-state watershed totals 2 million. Ohio, Indiana, Michigan, and of course, Canada. But the number of animals in the watershed is 5 to 10 to 15 times more. And the manure load of those animals compared to 20 years ago, spread on the land, even in the wintertime, contributes with increasing rainfall to the pollution that then drains to places like Toledo. Utility rates are going up because seniors, what are they going to do? How are they going to afford the bills to pay to clean up the pollution from a tri-state and indeed international waterway? Instead of helping clean up our water for future generations, this Republican bill takes America backwards. And you know what I say? Shame on you. Shame on you. Today, the United States Environmental Protection Agencies recognize that harmful algal blooms are a major environmental problem in all 50 states with severe impacts on human health. The Toledo water plant and what happened to us is a severe warning for our country, and we better pay attention. Communities are incurring massive costs for water treatment as a result of pollution and toxic algae because our water plants have to somehow clean this up and then send fresh drinking water to our citizens. And these costs are being paid not by the polluters, but by the ratepayers downstream. How unfair. I'm back here in Washington fighting for our lake. Our citizens must turn this green muck back into blue water to sustain life itself. And one of the ways we start is by defeating this bill. It's an embarrassment to the country at this point in our history. And I can tell you, to the people who still don't know what their future holds in places like Toledo and along Lake Erie, I urge my colleagues to oppose this bill, reject the dead water direction in which it leads. Because it isn't just this generation, but it's those that follow that we should be voting for here in this House. I urge defeat of this measure, and I want to thank Congressman Ray Hall and those who understand what it takes to build a great nation and do something worthy in our time and generation. I yield back any remaining time to the